YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football, Houston Texans football. Today, we're going to talk about one of our players on defense won Defensive Player of the Week, but there's another player on defense that had a shot and possibly could have won Defensive Player of the Week as well. We're going to talk about, we're going to break it down, but before we get into that, if you're liking the content, man, make sure you liking the channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos, you commenting on all the videos, you liking all the videos, you sharing all the videos on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share them same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media as well. The link in the description below. We still trying to get this channel to get to 6,000 subscribers. You know what that means? I need you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend, so they can tell some more friends, so they can tell some friends and put them on game with the channel, man. We still on the race to get to 6,000 subscribers, so I need your help, man. I need you to do your part. I need you to like, I need you to share, I need you to subscribe. Also, I'm trying something new with the background, so if y'all feeling it, put in the comments a thumb up. If you ain't feeling it, put in the comments a thumb down. Very simple. Just let me know, give me a little bit of feedback on what y'all feeling about the new lights in the background. Now, let's talk about it. Like I said, now, Darius Stingley won Defensive Player of the Week, and we were sitting there talking about, hey, that game against the Denver Broncos was Darius Stingley's best game as a pro, and he showed you why you draft him as the third overall. The draft a DB in the top 5 is very, very vital. You have to be a very, very special player. And he showed you on Sunday that he was a very, very special player. But the other guy, Willie Anderson, showed you why you jump up to get a Willie Anderson, why you trade the 12th overall pick, and why you trade a future first to get a guy like that, to get a complete game record. And that's what he did. Because a lot of people were saying, hey, Will Anderson, on my live after the game, a lot of people say Will Anderson might win Defensive Player of the Week. I kind of knew there was going to be Darius Stingley because in the grand scheme of football, turnovers and interceptions are more important and more valuable than sacks. But Will Anderson definitely had his best game as a pro. We talking about a guy who he had 5 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss outside of the 2 sacks. That means 4 times he had somebody behind the line of scrimmage, 4 quarterback hits, 6 QB pressures, a tip pass, pass deflection, tip pass that ended up being one of Darius Stingley's, Darius Stingley's first interception, and he also tipped and blocked the punt that made the punt, I think, into like 28 yards, if I'm not mistaken, on the punt. Now, that wouldn't go up in defensive player stats because that's more of a special team stat. But just the simple fact that he was able to change and wreck a game. See, we put a lot of stock, a lot of emphasis on the sacks. Oh man, if a player's getting sacks, a player's not getting sacks, because he only has 5 sacks on the season. So we put a lot of stock into that type of situation. But we don't put on the little nuances of how he's changing the game, how he's applying a lot of pressure, how he's tipping passes, how he's rushing the passer, rushing the quarterback, and making the quarterback get rid of the football early. The only 2 games he didn't really show up was as far as getting quarterback hits or rushes was last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. He got 0 QB hits, and I think he might have 1 pressure in that game. And then the game against the Carolina Panthers as well, against Bryce Young, 0 QB hits, and I think he might have maybe 2 pressures, but didn't do anything else to change the game. And we all admit that pass rush was very putrid against Jacksonville. Jacksonville did a great job on not allowing to get any quarterback hits or any pressures on Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence, that might have been his lowest pressure game, lowest game of being in duress might have been that game against us, if I'm not mistaken. So we didn't do anything really in that game. But outside that, the presence of Will Anderson has been shown throughout the season. It just wasn't showing up in sacks. But he was doing everything else right. Changing passes, cutting the pass line, getting tackles for loss, stopping running backs and things like that. Setting the edge and also allowing Jonathan Gennard to do well. And allowing Jonathan Gennard leads the team with 8 sacks. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's top 15. Might be top 10. He might be 9th or 10th in sacks if I'm not mistaken. Don't get me wrong, but I know he has 8 sacks on the season. A lot of that becomes Willie Anderson's getting a lot of double team, a lot of triple team, and it's opening things for Jonathan Gennard. They started leaving Willie Anderson one-on-one blocks last week against the Denver Broncos. They made that mistake, and once Will Anderson started wrecking the game, you know what they did? It opened up the lanes for Jonathan Gennard. That's when Jonathan Gennard ended up getting sacked because they started sliding the protection over to Will Anderson. Jonathan Gennard coming up the edge, Jonathan Gennard gets a sack. Jonathan Gennard gets a key pressure and the key QB hit when he puts the pressure on, well, not QB hit, but a key pressure, and make Russell Wilson deliver the football when he wasn't ready to deliver the football, throw without even looking, and Jimmy Ward was able to get the interception in the game. All those things was because of two things. One, I'm not targeting number 24 because he got 2 interceptions already. I'm not looking on this side of the field. I'm not looking on the right side of the field because I see 24 over there. I'm not throwing his direction. Also, who else in that direction? 51. I'm going to get over here. And the offensive line, I'm going to slide protection over here. So they make sure that they block number 51 because what he's doing right now, he's becoming an absolute game wrecker, an absolute game changer on the defensive end. And that's helping out Darius Stingley. No doubt about it. Because that pass rush and that front seven, especially if you're able to rush the passer with 4 guys, that helps your DBs out tremendously because that means now they're not covering long. Now, I'm not running all over the field. I'm not covering long if I'm getting a whole bunch of pressure up front, especially if I'm getting pressure with 4. If I'm getting pressure with 3 or less, hey, I'm good. But if I'm able to get good, solid, consistent pressure with my front 7, that back end, they having it easy back there. They got it easy back there. You talk about the skill set that both that Darius Stingley have and Jimmy Nelson. Come on, man. Come on. That's what we've been looking for. And like I said, a lot of people, we've been hyped about that because we've been wanting the game. Just like how we wanted that Darius Stingley game. We needed that 2 interception game from Darius Stingley, showing his athleticism, showing that he's able, his recovery speed, how we were looking for that. That's what we were looking for. We were looking for a game where Will Anderson completely took over because a lot of people out there saying, hey, man, we gave up the 12th pick for him. We jumped up in the draft for him, man. We could have got Jalen Carter. We could have did this. We could have did that. That's what a lot of people were saying. A lot of that noise is starting to chirp around, chatter around. People start saying that. I've been telling people, hey, I remember saying this, I think, after one of the preseason games. The dude's going to be worth the price of admission. He is. He's going to be worth the price of admission. Don't again, we put too much onus on the sacks. But he got him that day. He got him. Like I said, 2 sacks. 4 quarterback hits, 6 QB pressures. I had 2 tackles for loss on top of the 2 sacks. So that's 4 times because really a tackle for loss and the sack are the same stat. The exact same stat. They all both hitting somebody behind the line of scrimmage. A tackle for loss is hitting a running back or a receiver behind the line of scrimmage, and a sack is the exact same thing. The only thing is that typically sacks will get you more, can get you more negative yards because sacks can, get you. You can get a 15-yard sack. You can get a 20-yard sack depending on how deep the quarterback runs back. Running backs and receivers, unless it's some type of weird toss, they're not going that far back. Normally, tackles for loss, the most you'll probably get a tackle for loss is like 5 yards for the most. And a sack averages like 5 yards for loss. So from that standpoint, I guess that's how a sack is a little bit more valuable than a tackle for loss because it's typically going to be way more deeper yardage. But, I mean, you could get a tackle for loss or a sack or a sack, and then they can score a touchdown the very next play. Like a forced fumble recovery, an interception, things like that. That ends the drive, and the offense is back on the field. So that's the difference, and that's probably the reason why. Not probably, it is the reason why you have somebody like Stingley winning defensive player of the week because interceptions are more valuable than sacks. Now maybe if Will Anderson would have like a 3 or 4 sack game, then we could be talking about something. But it was both of them even. You're gonna lean towards the turnover, especially when turnovers result in direct points. Now I know some people saying that one turnover of interception, the first one that directed straight to points, came from Will Anderson pass deflection. And I give you that. I understand that. But that's the part of him being a game wrecker, somebody to come in and take over a game. And like I said, when you draft somebody like that and you add somebody like that to your team, not to mention what your other guys are doing on the opposite side, like I said, he helps out Jonathan Gennard a whole lot. Because Jonathan Gennard was the team's lead, was basically the guy you came into the season if you take out Will Anderson because we kind of knew the potential of Will Anderson, especially when you jump up and draft a guy like that. But you look at Jonathan Gennard and, okay, this is probably going to be the guy who you're looking at to get QB hits, to get QB pressures, to get sacks, things like that. Again, until Will Anderson steps up and becomes the guy. And that's the reason why Jonathan Gennard has the 8 sacks and lead the team in sacks. And I wouldn't be surprised because, we still got 5 games left. If Jonathan Gennard finishes with double-digit sacks, I'd actually be more surprised if he doesn't finish with double-digit sacks. He only needs 2. So I feel like he's going to get 2 sacks in the next 5 games and be able to get double-digit sacks for the season. And that'll be his first double-digit sack season. I think before that, the most he has is like either 8.5 or 9. But I also think Will Anderson, with 5 games left, only needing 5 sacks, I wouldn't be surprised if Willie Anderson has double-digit sacks. Is Willie Anderson going to be J.J. Watt and get 20.5 sacks a season type situation? I don't know, probably not, but he's going to affect the game in some of the ways. And the thing is, you don't need him to be if you getting the help from Jonathan Gennard, if you getting help from your DBs on the back end, able to take the ball away when he does get the QB hits and the pressures and the things like that. If your other guys around you can capitalize on what he does, you don't need him to get 20 sacks. Because that was the thing with JJ. That's the reason why you needed JJ to get 20 and a half sacks, 17 and a half sacks, be that dominant. You needed that because you wasn't getting the sacks from Jadeveon Clowney. You wasn't really getting the sacks from Antonio Smith. You wasn't getting the sacks from whoever else is on the defensive line. Your DBs and Jonathan Joseph, Kareem Jackson, and Aaron Colvin, and Lonnie Johnson and DJ Swearinger and everybody else, they weren't getting the interceptions. They weren't getting. The only one probably could have would have been AJ Bouye, but the year that AJ Bouye was the Texans and was a starting cornerback for the Texans, that was the year that JJ got hurt by game 3 and missed the rest of the season. So he didn't really play with AJ Bouye when AJ Bouye was a starter. Now he played with AJ Bouye as a backup, but didn't really play with AJ Bouye as a starter, so it didn't really help. It really didn't even matter. So JJ never really got the help on the back end from his DBs and cornerbacks. Even though I know Jonathan Joseph and Kareem Jackson, I think they're 1 and 2 in interceptions for the franchise. A lot they got to do with longevity, just being here for a long time. But at a consistent state and a consistent balance, they didn't make the plays when you needed to because of JJ's pressures. Same thing with Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney didn't benefit and didn't take heed and didn't capitalize on the dominance of JJ Watt. I feel like Jonathan Gennard is going to do that. I feel like Darius Stingley and Steven Nelson, they're going to do that. I would love for Jalen Petrie to step up and join the party. That's a conversation for another day. But I feel like with all those guys around them, them having DeMeco Ryans coaching and being in the mix, I feel like that what we see out of Willie Anderson is going to be way more appreciated than we got with JJ Watt. I think JJ Watt probably going to have the better numbers and the more flashy sacks and things like that. But the dominance and what Willie Anderson is going to bring to the table, he has his supporting cast around him. It's going to help him, and it's going to make it even look more better. And it's going to accumulate to more wins and also better success. And also, I think he's also then thrown himself and thrust himself in potentially getting a chance to become Defensive Rookie of the Year as well. Because these next 5 games can come on strong. And the thing is, he doesn't have the stigma that a lot of guys usually have, and that's just being part of the Texans. Because C.J. Stroud has changed that narrative. Because you go back, you go on all the talking shows, they're talking about the Texans way more than they ever did. Way more than they ever did with the other, with Deshaun, with Schaub, with Andre. When we used to talk about JJ, they used to talk about JJ like JJ was just like, it was like JJ and the Texans, kind of like, with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. Like they always exclude Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5, even though Michael Jackson was part of the Jackson 5. Because if you took away Michael, there was only 4 Jackson brothers. So he was part of the 5. I never understood why they said Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 when he's included in the number 5. But that's a conversation for another day. That's how they used to treat JJ. Like it was like JJ and the Houston Texans. Like JJ wasn't a Houston Texan. Like it was JJ and the Houston Texans. That's how they treated it. So outside of him, everybody else, they kind of barely talked about it. They never really got the exposure, and the team never got the exposure. But what we see right now when it comes to CJ's giving the team the exposure, and everybody's talking about the team as a unit, giving them credit, making it more of a credible organization and a credible franchise. And I think that Will Anderson will now benefit from that. And he's starting to come along to the party as far as potentially as a late guy, but maybe I think he was always like 3rd in the odds of Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think Jalen Carter was number 1, and it still probably is number 1. But that's kind of do with the Eagles being good, because I don't even think Jalen Carter is even a starter. I think he's a rotational guy. I don't think he's a starter. So I do think that Will Anderson, Will Anderson, as him being a starter, as him showing his dominance, as him growing into the player, and I think the game is starting to slow down from a little bit as well, and able him to put some pressure on the rest of the guys. The teams we got coming up, we got the Jets, we have the Browns, we have the Titans twice, and we have the Colts. There's opportunities for Will Anderson to come out there and showcase his dominance. It's It's points right there where, like I said, he can come out there and showcase his dominance and showcase that he is a potential game breaker. That he is a game breaker because we seen it last week. Like I said, it's clearly that was his best game. That was his complete best game as a rookie, and that's what we've been looking for when we move up in the first round, jump up from 12 to 3, give up a future first to get Willie Anderson. Was never against the trade. Very excited when we got the trade. Very excited when we got Willie Anderson because that shows a new day and age and a new day when it comes to the Texans, that we're not operating like the same old Houston Texans. We're coming in here to test stuff up. Let's be completely honest with you. We come here to wreck shop. And I ain't just talking about the records. I ain't just talking about wreck shop records. We come in here to wreck shop. This H-Town. That's what we come here to do. That's what we come here to do. We come here to show everybody, man, we here, man. Hey, what's the deal? We is here, man. We here. Look, we here. We ain't going, and we not going nowhere. We not just here no, we not here for a good time, not a long time. No, we here. We here with sustainability. We gonna be here for a minute. Hey, go ahead and kick your feet up on the couch. We gonna be here for a minute, man. We gonna be here. That's what we're showing you. That's what we're showing you, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just a small little fragment, a little small, minute fragment of what the Houston Texans can do and what the Houston Texans are capable of. And what I seen on Sunday, what I seen on Sunday just confirmed, because, like I said, that's why you jumped. That's why you drafted a DB in the top 5, because that game like that, and that's why you jumped up to get Willie Anderson. When you see him take over that second half, when you see him take over that game, when you see him like, hey, because the offense wasn't really moving, when you lost Tank there, the offense wasn't really putting up the points. Hey, Will Anderson, he came in, stepped in, he took over the game. Him and Darren Stingley came over and took over the game on the defensive end. And even you seen the effects on the last play of the game. The last play of the game, they didn't even do anything, but just their presence on the field, it really is the reason why Jimmy Ward got that late game interception to end off the game. They presence on the field. I'm not going to throw to number 24. I'm not going to throw nowhere near his side. Hey, protection. Slide over to 51. Make sure y'all block him. He been in my face all day. He been in my face all day. Make sure y'all block him. I don't want him nowhere near me. Make sure y'all block him. And then you see Jonathan Gennard coming off, and you like, damn. And let me get away. I can't get away from him, baby. I just gotta get rid of this football. Hey, I just throw it up. Jimmy Ward, boom, pick, game over. That's what they done. That's what he's done on the field. That's how he's becoming a complete game breaker. Not to mention, like I say, the block punt that changed course of the game and gave the Texans a short field position early in the year. Blocked the field goal from Jacksonville. It took points off the board. The dude is a game wrecker. And the sacks, you've seen the sacks starting to come. The sacks starting to come. We all know when they start coming, when them doors click. The same thing for JJ. I think JJ only had 5.5 sacks as a rookie. He had that dominant performance against the Bengals on the playoffs. And then after that, it took off. After that, completely took off. Expect the same thing for Will Anderson. He's about to take over and dominate the defense. Like I say, a complete game breaker. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.